Welcome to Nate's Garage and Bakery. Being the car enthusiast I am, I have decided to make a segment called Rental Car Reviews. Today we have the 2017 Infiniti Q50 with the 2.0 liter turbo. I actually don't know if it's all-wheel drive or not. We'll try to figure that out here during the course of this video. I'm here in beautiful Southern California, driving a beautifully twisty road just to see how well this car does in the twisties with the handling and the stuff. I actually haven't taken it through its paces yet, so we'll see if this thing slides off into a canyon gully and kills me in a fiery crash. I don't know. I kind of doubt it. Besides, this Prius up here is going to really slow things down here in a second. This thing does quite well in the twisties. We're going through some of the burned out areas, actually, of Southern California, where there were some large fires that charred a lot of the area around what you see here out the front window. Lots of Joshua trees burnt to a crisp. Lots of stuff just has got soot all over it. Occasionally you'll see a residence that's been burned out, or a residence that's got burned all around it except for in the actual residence itself, because they somehow protected it. But they'll have a nice line of browned trees and plants around the perimeter before you see the green inside the perimeter of their protected area. Kind of interesting. I kind of like viewing the power of nature in such ways as a lightning strike starting a fire out here and burning everything to a crisp, or a tornado ripping through, say, Joplin, Missouri, and smoking just, so much of the town. So I don't like that they happen, obviously. I'm not rooting for Mother Nature to just jam it down your throat. But, well, I like seeing the aftermath. It's going to happen. It's nature. We're here on this earth, more or less unwelcome visitors, if you ask some people. This planet's going to do what it wants to do, regardless of what we tell it to do. That isn't what I'm making this video about. What this video is about is rental car reviews. And this is the premiere episode of Rental Car Reviews here at Nate's Garage and Bakery. Ladies and gentlemen, the Infiniti Q50 with the 2.0 turbo. I believe this has the luxury package. It does have the nice leather interior. It is a sexy looking car, if you ask me, with those dual exhaust tips and all that noise. I love the contours of the hood. I love how this thing looks from the front. I love how this looks from the sides, with that cool little swish in the rear C-pillar, is it? Never could remember which ones were which. I like the back view. I think it looks neat with the dual exhaust tips and all that junk. Just a good looking car all around. When it is running, it does have daytime running lamps on it. During normal driving use, while it's light outside, it does have the cool LED lights. Has a little ring around the collar there, if you will. I do like that feature. A little bit of an eyebrow there too, I believe. I'm not real thrilled about how you can't seem to turn any of that stuff off. Side indicators on the mirrors. So this car does have the keyless everything system. You get the key fob here, but there is actually no key with it. There's nothing to stick into the ignition or to a door lock. So how does this keyless system work? Let's lock the doors all the way. Now, as long as I have that key in my pocket, I can walk up to the car. Either front door works in the following ways. If I put my hand inside the door handle, it opens this door only. You'll notice that these doors are not open. That does not work for the back doors. All the other doors are still locked. When I close the door, if I just push the little thumb button right here, without touching the inside of the door handle, it will lock all the doors. If I come up here and I both grab it and hit the thumb button, it has now unlocked all the doors. So one may ask the question, how is that secure if all you had to do is have the key near the car somewhere? Let's say I'm inside the restaurant or whatever, and can anybody just walk up and unlock my doors? Let me show you how that works. Everything's locked now. I'll even arm it like this. Okay? I'm going to put this key on the ground right here, this far from the car. I will walk up to the car. Nothing. The buttons don't do anything. I can't open the doors. Nothing happens. I am more than 80 centimeters away from that key. If I get the key and I have it with me in my pocket, suddenly it works. So there you go. It's a very near field type experience there. Also goes for the keyless ignition. You have the start stop button up here. You do have to push the brake pedal in and push it once. Car starts right up. I am a driving enthusiast. I have been through a few performance driving classes and autocrosses and such. Let's see how this does in the passing lane against this little Prius. This thing doesn't do too bad, but you can definitely tell that A, it's the small engine, this being the 2.0 liter turbo, as opposed to the 3.0 liter turbo, the 2.0 being a 4-cylinder, the 3.0 being the 6-cylinder. And there's even a couple different flavors of the 3.0, all the way up to the 400 and some horsepower or something. I don't have that one. I've got the little 208 horsepower inline 4 turbocharged. I think it's 258 foot-pounds of torque. That's a lot of power out of a 2-liter engine. That's more than a horsepower per milliliter, or it's more than 100 horsepower per liter, if you want to look at it that way. That's not the highest output of any car by any means with, the output per liter, but whatever. So there are a couple things about this car that I do not like necessarily, though I won't profess that I am an expert in this or any other car in such a way that I know all the tricks. I haven't done all the research in how to do this. I don't own the car, so if I did, I'd certainly figure it out, but it's a rental car. I only have it for a couple of days, and I don't really care that much to dig that far into it in the time that I have. So what are these things? Well, this car has an eco mode where it shuts the engine off at a stop. If you come to a complete stop at a stop sign or a stoplight, the engine will actually shut itself off while you have your foot on the brake. As soon as you let off the brake, before you even get to the gas pedal, it refires and you're pretty much ready to go. It's not the smoothest operating little system. I don't know if that's because this is the small engine or what, but it definitely is noticeable when it kicks back on. It's definitely very silent when it kicks off. A little disconcerting maybe, but it at least tells you how much carbon dioxide you're saving the environment from by having the turn off feature done. The twisties, I love them. You can turn the auto stop feature off. However, it rearms itself every time you start the car again, so I don't like that. I wish it would keep its memory. What else don't I like about this car? Well, here's something that I think is common to all cars that have Bluetooth enabled for their stereo systems, to where you can... Ooh, nice El Camino. Sorry, I'm going to check out all the Southern California cars here, if you don't mind. I think something that's common to all cars with Bluetooth capabilities built into their stereo is that when you re-enter the car and turn it back on and it automatically reconnects to your phone, it starts playing some shit that you don't necessarily want it to play. Since I just started that car up, it is now linked to my phone, which I'm also taking this video on. You hear that dumbass, goofy music? Oh my. Oh, that's so nice. That is some stupid track that's on my phone. I have no idea where it came from. I don't even know where it is on my phone to delete the stupid file. I don't like that. So let me just go ahead and pause that junk. Of course, you can play your Spotify or any other sounds through the thing here. Is there a way to turn that feature off? I don't know. I've had a lot of cars with Bluetooth capabilities, and I haven't figured out a way to do that yet. So I guess I don't know if you can turn that feature off in these Bluetooth cars. One thing I do like, this is an automatic. It's a 7-speed automatic. It does have a rev matching feature. Ooh, another nice old car off to the left there. I don't even know what that is, honest with you. We have the 7-speed automatic transmission, which is standard. As far as I know, you can't get an Infiniti Q50 with a manual transmission in it anymore. This particular one that I have does not have the paddle shift option, but I do believe that there are ones that do have that. Instead, it has this little auto stick type thing going on where you slap it over to the side and pop up and down for your gear changes. One of the things I'm going to have to try during the course of this video is to see how well it will hold a gear. It's one thing I hate about automatics. If I had my druthers, all my cars would be stick shift, manual, or at the very least, something that's going to do exactly what I tell it to do. So we'll have to see if this thing will hold a gear as long as I tell it to hold a gear. Will it stay in second gear all the way up to 1,000 miles an hour? All the way up to red line, or is it going to assume that I don't know what I'm doing and slap me into third gear when it gets to that point where it would normally shift? We'll be checking that out. Another nice thing about the automatic transmission is that it has a rev matching feature, so that if I am going, let's say, down a hill and I want to use some engine braking, or any other reason where I'd want to downshift, when you tell it to downshift, it actually pauses the gear engagement and revs the engine to match where the engine would be if it were in that gear that you're changing into before it actually engages the gear back. So what that means is that when you do the downshift, you don't get the standard automatic when you do the downshift. You actually get this nice, you don't get the whole jerk with it. You get you'll hear the engine go ring, and then it'll actually engage ring, and you won't actually feel a jolt of the gear change. I've used this feature several times now in this car, and it works quite well. And I mean, when you go all the way down into first gear, sometimes it's a little jerky, because first gear, well, you're not really supposed to downshift in the first gear that much. It's not one of those things I've ever done in any car I have. First gear is kind of meant for start stops. Something else I like about this car is the exterior styling. You can sort of see the curvature of the hood on the front here. Seems like everything after the, the bulbous, wonderful, lusty, voluptuous cars of the 40s and 50s, they kind of just straightened out and turned into boxes all around. But you can see the curvature. You can kind of see the fender humps on the left and right side of the hood here, and you can see the kind of the bulge in the center there. And I don't know if you just heard that start-stop feature, but that's what was just going on there. This car does have a knobby, turny, OK menu-y thingy bobby on the center console here to run through all the 10 billion thousand features in the computerized everything system. It goes down to the turn signals and how they work. So even the turn signals on this sucker are computerized. Not to say that the turn signals on any other car are not computerized, but the option to have this automatically flash 3 times when you just tap the lane change of the turn signal, like you would normally just hold it partway down for as long as you're making a lane change, as opposed to clicking it all the way in. The feature that a lot of cars have where it will automatically flash 3 times if you just tap it down into that spot and let go. Well, you can turn that feature on or off in this car through the computer system in the center console. Computerized turn signals. Who would have known? Here's something I really don't like about this car. It tends to block out your GPS signal from your phone such that Google Maps or Waze or whatever app you use for navigation tends not to work so well because it can't get a signal. What the sh**? Now, I did do a little research on that, and it seems that people are getting external antennas for these. So it is a known problem. It's not just me. And though my phone seems to be working correctly right now in giving me directions on where I'm going, I could not get that phone to get a signal. Therefore, I was a little lost here when I first got into town. Something I'm not so sure about is the ability of a turbocharged or supercharged car to make up for the difference in altitude, since we are here at some higher altitudes. They're supposedly somewhat able to make up for the difference in altitude because the turbo can add more pressure to the system to make up for the thinner altitude, the thinner atmosphere at this altitude. I'll have to see if I can't run some performance tests to see if it's really any different from running it down towards, several thousand feet lower than what I'm at right now. So at one point in my drive here, I did get above the snow line and decided to test the traction control out, as well as confirm whether this was all-wheel or rear-wheel drive only. First, with traction control, I was flooring it, and you can hear nothing. Basically, it cuts it all out. It's drive-by-wire. That beep-beep was the gear selector saying, nope, can't have that gear. And now without traction control, I tried feathering it a little bit, wasn't having anything of it, so I gunned it.
Just rear-wheel drive. Alright.
And that's how I got out of there. It was not all-wheel drive at all.
I guess I'm continuing on this review of the Infiniti Q50 rental car. This thing can carve up a mountain road like nobody's business. However, I believe I've already warped the brakes. Poor thing. This poor thing has only got like 11,000 miles on it, and it's already warped braked. So what are some things I have learned in this little test drive of the Infiniti Q50? First of all, it likes to hold its gear. I can go into manual mode here, and while it won't let you go into like 7th gear at 35 miles an hour, you hear that little beep? That's me trying to go, it went into 6th there. But if you either try to go into a high number gear and you're going too slow, or if you try to shift down to, let's say, 1st gear at 80 miles an hour, it'll give you the beep. Right now, I'm floored in 6th gear at 40 miles an hour, and it's not downshifting. That is a good thing. That's amazingly good. And since this is a turbo, it's actually getting some little grunt here at the low end as the turbo boost builds up. On the flip side, like I said, if you go down and try to go, there's 2nd gear at 40, it's not letting me go into 1st gear. That's good. I'm not going quite fast enough to max out 2nd gear, so let me get a little bit of a drop on this guy in front of me. This guy in front of me is going so slow compared to everybody else that was in front of him. So yeah, let's see if it'll stay in 2nd gear or if it will shift up. Nope, it goes right up against the rev limiter. It will not shift out of 2nd gear. That is awesome. That is what is supposed to happen in a manual mode gearbox, whether it be you rowing through the gears or whether it be an automatic with a manual option. That's awesome. So here maybe you can see some of my annoyance level stuff with the brightness of the lights. I really don't like bright lights in my face when I'm driving at night. It's pitch black outside. And yeah, this brightness mode junk. Let's see, if I hit the brightness mode, you can tell that's daylight brightness, which I don't want. That's night brightness, and they are turned all the way down. That's as far down as you can go. There seems to be a dead stop up here. I don't know what the hell's going on. Well, we're going to find out what's going on here. It's Garage and Bakery on the scene. There are a whole lot of stuff going on here. Wow. There's some rescue vehicles over here to the right. There's a whole bunch of crap going on here. There's more stuff pulling up. There's all kinds of stuff going on here. I don't know what's going on, but something is obviously going on. Uh-oh. I see a motorcycle over here and a stretcher next to it. Oh, that's a motorcycle cop is what that is. And that is a car that looks a little dinged up. I'll bet somebody was a little bit too stupid for their own good. Outdrove their own skill level, I'm guessing. Most likely somebody ran out of talent. Somebody ran out of skill. Hopefully it did not result in a kill. I just made that song up. I know it sucks. I'm sorry. So a couple things about the Q50 here I've figured out. One is that you can turn off the center displays over here completely through a menu option, and when you want to use it, you can just use it and all that, and it goes away automatically. Or if you hold the button down, it then comes back. What I'm doing right now is hoping for an empty spot to top this thing out a little bit. Let's see what it'll do, shall we? $110, $120, $125, and a car pulling out in front of me, so I will slow down a great deal now. So we had 125, and it wasn't bumping up against anything just yet. Not sure what this thing will top out at.
Now, what about burnouts? That's badass. That's right, baby.